I'd like to thank the organizing committee of Panathēnea for the incredible work they have put behind this festival, and of course for the opportunity to discuss this important topic, how to build businesses that build better cities. At Helidoni, we are particularly proud to support Panathēnea from the very beginning, because for a few days, Athens becomes the global meeting point for technology, for innovation, for culture, and this is something truly unique for the Greek ecosystem. At Helidoni, both through the foundation and the group, we have always believed that the future of our cities, of our communities, of our societies is not shaped randomly. It is shaped by the ideas we support, the organizations we build, and ultimately by where capital, talent, and energy are directed. So if what we want is more sustainable, more resilient, more inclusive cities, then what do we have to do is to build organizations that are intentionally designed to provide, to produce, to create a long-term positive impact. Not just projects, not just short-term trends, but structures and initiatives built to last. So in that context, in Helidoni, we are really proud to support initiatives like Open Council and Astylab. And Open Council provides democratic participation through technology and brings closer citizens and local authorities, local government. Astylab supports mission-driven ventures and initiatives that are focusing on more sustainable and to improve the urban life. At this point, I would like to welcome on stage Christos Porios and Adam Markakis, founders and executive directors of Open Council and Astylab, respectively. Guys, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And before we get into products and companies, I would like to ask you both, how do you think cities actually change, and how come did you decide to spend your careers working on that?
Okay, I will start by giving an answer that I think is not necessarily very romantic, which is that cities do not change by grand plans that take years to execute. Rather, they change through existing institutions, and particularly cities change in boring city council meetings that happen every Tuesday and that nobody attends. This opinion, if you will, is the key to our approach at Open Council, which basically what Open Council does is we take the existing institutional city council meetings and community meetings that exist in the 332 municipalities in Greece, and we try to make them legible. So, yeah, in a sentence, to me, and our guest's key opinion is that cities change through existing institutions and through city council meetings that already take place and already happen. If then a follow-up question is that why don't we see enough change? First of all, I would disagree. Change is very slow. It's very bureaucratic, but it does happen, and we should try to reinforce the existing process before trying to build around it.
To add something here, I think that we should start, especially in Greece, that cities do actually change, because many times we don't think that's possible. But many cities, Paris, Medellin, Bogota, Madrid, many cities all over the world have, obviously Amsterdam and Copenhagen as well, have shown that in 10, 20 years, with intentional work, with a strategy, and with a clear vision on where you want to go, cities can radically change. I think that infrastructure, is the most important thing, both physical and intangible infrastructure. Culture is downstream from infrastructure. Like all of us, when we travel to Barcelona or in Paris, we don't live as Athenians. We walk, we bike, we use the metro. So the infrastructure needs to come first. The infrastructure is obviously the hardest and the most boring thing to do. But the boring things are the ones that actually move the needle in cities.
Christo, can you hear me? Yeah. Christo, you left a very strong career path abroad to come back to Greece. Why did you make that choice?
There's two reasons. One is personal, and it's obviously different for every person, but for me, doing something here, it just simply feels more important. I would rather what we're building to be in 5 cities in Greece rather than 50 cities abroad, because it just feels more impactful and I care about this place. And the second part of this answer is really about leverage rather than patriotism. It's basically sometimes building things in Greece, there are certain advantages that come to it. For example, right now we work with the city of Athens, which is a major European capital. I think it would be harder to achieve this abroad or if I stayed in the US, for example. So yeah, I think in our case it also makes sense, but it's also a personal choice.
Adam, you write, you invest, you build communities. You run programs for founders. What is it exactly that you are trying to build?
Yeah, it may seem like totally different things, but when you live through it, it's actually very coherent. What I'm actually trying to build is a flywheel. The flywheel that attracts top talent, co-builds and founds companies, projects, data, gathering with them. Then these projects create impact and returns, both monetary but also social and climate. And then this success brings in better team members, more investors, and then attracts more talent, and then you keep on going until you actually move the needle in all these cases, all these issues we want to fix.
Christo, most civic tech products never really become part of people's lives. What would be, or what is it different about Open Council?
Yeah, let me start by acknowledging and underlining what you said. It's true that tech for civic engagement is a graveyard. Not entirely a graveyard. There's some very hopeful stories, but a lot of the things actually fail. In my opinion, largely because a common approach is try to build another app and another portal where you ask somebody to log in and do their civic duty. And there's a lot of work involved in that for the user, and also a lot of friction. What we do differently is, so there's this phrase that I like: if Muhammad won't go to the mountain, then maybe the mountain can go to Muhammad, which I really like. And here, in this analogy, the mountain is the city council. So we try to bring the city council to where users already are, and that means WhatsApp and social media and Viber and SMS and email. So rather than you having to log in into a separate platform, you just continue engaging with the tools you already use. And we are already seeing and also hoping that the impact will be greater in the future, that this actually works. So that's one part. And the other part is that we really try to work through the existing institutions. That is very, very important. Sometimes institutions are slow and they're very bureaucratic, but they're the ones actually holding the power. And we often, at least we try to see bureaucracy not as a bug, but as a feature. And it's key, I think, for any kind of civic tech attempt to work through the existing institutions and empower what already exists, rather than trying to go around it and find hacks. So these are the two reasons.
although I think you have covered it, just if you want to elaborate further, why does this work in practice when other participation platforms don't?
So there's many participation platforms that actually don't really see the city and the existing politicians and the city council as a stakeholder. To us, they are our clients, and we sell to them, and we sell something that they often refer to as a transparency tool. I personally don't really like that phrase. Okay, is this better? Okay, amazing. So I don't particularly like the phrasing of a transparency tool, but this is something we sell to them, and that's very important because it creates the right incentives, and it means that if a city is unhappy with us, we simply won't renew our contract in the future, and therefore we're incentivized to provide real value.
Great, thank you. Christo, Astylab founders have already completed its first cohort and planning its second. For the people hearing about it for the first time, what is this program and what kind of founders are you looking for?
So Astylab Founders is a talent incubator in the vein of Entrepreneur First or Antler. So we don't want a deck, we don't want a business plan, we don't want anything, we just want you as a person, your passion, your experience, what you want to build. And we actually want to work with people that want to create great companies that solve real problems. For us, the people that are more usually, more possible to succeed on that need to be ambitious, they need to be idealistic, they need to care about the world, they need to be analytical in how they approach things, and they also need to be humble in that they want to learn from other people, from actual experience, from what they will experience. So Astylab Founders 2006 will happen in autumn. Applications close in a couple of days, so look it up if you want to refer it to anyone. And yeah, it's 2 months, full time, in person, 8 then founders with a venture building team working side by side with them, actually hands-on. And we've seen that if you create this very concentrated energy in a specific time, specific space, with specific like-minded people, great things can come out of it.
Great. And now that you've done the first cycle, what worked better than expected, and what would you change?
So really, we validated that there's great talent of atypical founders that want to work on real problems. This was amazing, the quality of applications that we saw last year, but this year also. And also that we can, in a couple of months, really go from zero to people never, even experienced working in a startup, never even actually building a business model, to having founding an actual company that can get also funding and start operating. So this 0 to 1 was really proven. What we want to make even better next time around is the team formation side of it. So we will work even harder to make teams come out of the program rather than individual projects.
Great, thank you. Now, a debate question to both of you. It seems to be 2 different ways to approach change in cities. One is build directly for citizens, and this is what you do, Adam. The other is work with municipalities and institutions where decisions are actually happen, and this is what you do, Christo. Please debate and support these different choices that you made.
Should I start?
You want to start the debate, or do you want to?
All right, so first of all, to concede the point, I do believe that to have large-scale impact, at some point you need the institutions to come on board. For me, it's a kind of, let's say, personal preference. We all have a very finite time on Earth and a finite career, and I prefer to be in control of its impact as much as possible and also make it fun. And I think the more yeses you need in anything you do, and the more people that can dilute what you build, the less chances there are of safeguarding the impact and making it actually fun for you. So I try to build this flywheel, as I said, with working with great people like Christos. Working with great people like Christos and others, and hopefully at some point the institutional will come on board as well. But yeah, for the time being, I prefer to be able to control our own destiny, let's say.
You, Christo?
Well, as you said, our approach is to work through existing institutions and work through the municipalities. I think that is very important. Sometimes it's easy to see a problem and wonder why it's there and try to think of a way. Maybe it's an app. Maybe you want to meet with your neighborhood every Tuesday and discuss how to fix the problems in your neighborhood. That thing already exists, and it has voting powers, and it's called Community Council in Athens. Athens is split into seven municipal communities, and they meet every twice a week, and you can actually once every 2 weeks, and you can go physically, and you can raise your hand, and you can speak up, and it actually has some power. Does it work perfectly? No, but it does have some power. It already exists. So my approach is that we should try to reinforce what already exists and provide tools to local government. Also because local government is largely ignored. It is the most neglected layer of government, and yet it is the one that is closest to what we see every day. It affects our lives a lot, and it could be better, and it deserves better.
Thank you. So, Christo, working with municipalities means working with politics, with bureaucracy, with constraints. What's the hardest part of it, and where is the line you won't cross?
The hardest line is non-surprising answer, probably. The hardest part is the tempo, so the velocity at which our government moves at. Which, again, I think it's a feature. It's not a bug. Bureaucracy and slowness is, in reality, a way to minimize risk. So we respect that, and we come from a point of understanding and respect. Yet it remains quite hard because we think in terms of weeks as a small startup or of months. And municipalities and politics and government things in terms of years. So that's probably the hardest part. A line we won't cross, there's many, but like a clear one is that we try to be neutral. So and this has never happened, but if a mayor asks us to change something in the transcripts, on the subjects we extract, or on the notifications we send, that would be the end of that collaboration because we don't want to do that. We try to be neutral. But of course, if they ask us for tools to make their job better or things that are reasonable and make the product better, of course, we work with them on that. But yeah, so a line is that we try to appear neutral. So also a reason to try and be neutral is that the community that we're trying to build is one of understanding and engagement rather than one of outrage, because outrage just burns out eventually, and engagement and understanding compounds.
Thank you. Adam, a lot of people talk about innovation in cities. In your experience, what separates projects that really improve urban life from projects that just sound good in presentations? A short answer, please. We're running out of time.
The short answer is that the project needs to make enemies. If a project has 0 enemies, then it means it's not changing anything material, so no one cares about it. And the other thing is that, as I said, boring is usually much more impactful than something that can be, photographed. So yeah, if it doesn't make enemies, then it's probably not gonna, move the needle.
Okay, and now one last question to both of you. Let's have a very precise prediction, a very concrete prediction that when we meet again on a stage like that next time, what it will be obviously true about cities or about your work that very few today believe it would?
I think that heat will become the single most important design principle in Athens in the next 5 to 10 years. Everything will revolve around if we can, survive and actually experience the city during the summer. And I can expand on that, but we don't have the time. So, yeah.
I'll briefly say that I think a lot of the things that we're building today will be hopefully obvious in 5 years. I don't know if it's going to be us that are going to be building them, but like a map that actually shows what the city council decided for every neighborhood in the last 6 months is something obvious that will exist, so that will be something different. And I also think that in terms of city engagement, AI is going to help a lot, primarily because it's going to bring city engagement to the platforms where people already are. So again, to WhatsApp, Viber, Instagram stories, Facebook posts. The technology already exists, and yeah, we're building with it.
Guys, thank you both, and thank you all for your attention, for being here.